To the paper.
Well, you need a template with the dotted lines, with the logos, arrow to show which way you fold it. It's just details.
Yeah. All in the details, as I say.
We're unmuted. Do you want to do a sound check with Nicholas?
Sure. Nicholas, 1, 2, 3. Nick?
He's on mute.
No, he's on mute, but he's checking mine. Nicholas, can you hear me now? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Nicholas? Can you hear me now? No.
I think that's a no.
Nicholas?
Wait a minute.
Okay. His is on mute, but,
Yeah, he's muted,
but I'm fine.
not
There it is.
reacting.
I think the voice is there. I just saw it coming up registering. Nicholas, can you hear me? No, not loud enough.
We're going, we're getting out.
Huh?
Why he's not hearing us?
It looked like the volume was low.
Because it's just a picture, he's not really
Can
there.
somebody call him on his phone and see
Yeah.
if it's on his end?
Yeah.
One second, let me get his phone number up. You got it?
That's what I'm working on. I'm a little slow here, Lefty.
There, it looks like him. Call him now, Gary.
Nicholas, can you hear me now? No. Yep, his phone works.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Nicholas, can you, I take it you can't hear us off the screen at this point. Could you check your volume, just make sure it's on, you look unmuted?
Sure. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just go, I got it.
Can you hear me now? Test, 1, 2, 3. You probably hear me through the phone.
Hello?
Oh, there we go. We got you. Can you hear us? 1, 2, 3?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're good. And let me hang up here.
Oh, good. Oh, it is 4:30. Okay. Where did I put my glasses? Hold on. Oh, shoot, I know where I left them. I'll get them later. Okay. We'll go ahead and start. First thing, public comment. Anybody who's going to make a comment, please sign. See my handwriting, I left my glasses in the other room. And a mask is not necessary while you're up at the mic. Oh, I turned this off.
Chuck Rusnak. I guess, would it be possible to provide the status for the following items?
What, is that on?
Is there a green light
Yeah,
on that?
it's green.
Okay.
All right.
I'd like to have the status for the following items: the April 7th minutes, and also the LCBA mission statement that I guess the board mentioned in their March meeting. I don't
understand the status of the April 7th. Oh, we're voting on those today.
We haven't voted on them, so they won't be submitted.
Yeah, we're
until-
doing those today.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then the mission statement.
That's in progress.
Okay. And would you consider the following items? Posting the meeting agenda on the website prior to the meeting.
Where did I put my pen?
And finally, could you provide contact information for the executive director?
Thank you. Is,
All right. Anybody else? Okay, then we'll go, next item is the minutes. Michelle?
Yes, I circulated draft minutes, and everyone provided comments on minutes, and I circulated those changes for the minutes for the March 25th, April 7th, and April 21st meeting. Does anyone have any additional comments, or would
No,
someone like to
I
make a
think they
motion
look
to,
fine.
well, I'd like a motion then to approve the make a motion to approve the March 25th, the April 7th, and the April 21st meeting minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes approved. Okay. Oops. I can read my own thing. Batty. Nicholas, you want to just give an update on Batty, which is not much?
There's not much. We completed the first round of requirements, and so, which is mostly was on ABB.
Nicholas, hold on for a second, Glenn.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just noticed we had an attendee that had their hand raised. I think they wanted to make public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, somebody else for public comment?
There was somebody that.
Virtual?
Oh, I'm sorry, Nicholas, somebody on the virtual want to make a comment. Sorry, thank you, Glenn. Okay.
Good afternoon, can you hear me?
Yes, state your name, please.
Yes, Chairman Thompson, I'm George Bott from District 1. Can you hear me?
Yes, George, no problem, go ahead.
I just have an observation about your the BTS firm that's dealing with the COVID tower. I've signed up for the service. They were coming out on the 19th of April, then the 20th of April, then the 3rd of May, and now the 7th of May. They seem to have some issues with scheduling and other things, I'm sure. This is not a complaint, it's just an observation. I just wanted to pass that along to you all.
No problem, thanks, George, appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Nicholas.
We submitted all our requirements for the DOTI grant, and really what the next thing we're waiting on is for Atlantic Broadband to come up with their project plan.
Okay, and, there's also, I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's
Go ahead, I'm
also,
sorry.
no, you go ahead, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, so we have to come up with, the project management team, to determine who's gonna, how we're gonna manage the project, not just locally on a county level, but also, as a whole, project, at a whole project level with the cops of the 4 counties. So we received, at least, the 4 counties received a proposal from Jeff Bico to manage, part of the project. And we're looking for a scope of work on that to determine what exactly that is, and is there value to it.
Glad you meant, that was the other agenda item, which we don't have the scope yet, but we'll bring that up to the authority when we get it. It'd be almost the same role he did with bringing the Batty together. He would see that everything is done, put together, that things keep moving, all the stuff that we have to provide, each county has to provide as the project moves along. So when we get that, we'll share it.
As my understanding is Matthews is taking the lead, which means they would be submitting the receipts on everything, and then doing the billing. Is that correct?
Yes, they're the lead county.
No, but the billing, I mean, i.e., we have to pay someone at some point in the project, and I'm just wondering, do we pay into Matthews? Do we pay directly to ABB?
Do you want to take it? Or I can't?
Yeah, I think we're determining that right now. how that, you want back, can you hear me clearly?
It's way too loud.
It's too loud for, can you turn that down? It's too loud for Bob.
So that's in process, is what you're saying, trying to figure that out?
They're establishing all the roles, and each
Okay.
county will participate in
Okay.
that. All right, say something, Nicholas, we'll see how the volume is from Bob.
Hello? Is that better?
Is that better?
Yeah,
It's fine.
Okay,
I think it's great.
that's fine. Thanks, Glenn.
Nicholas, I have a question. You said that the counties are looking at a proposal for Jeff Biko to manage the project? Is that manage the actual, like, to what extent would what would his responsibilities be? And is it necessary to have somebody in that role? And how much money is he asking for? Is this something that was contemplated originally, or is this something new?
This is something new. It is approximately about $2,000 will cost the county, each county. The one clear advantage is Jeff's knowledge of the Valley Grant. So he has intimate knowledge of the Valley Grant. The other counties feel it is advantageous. For $2,000, I feel it would be also. However, we do have to, obviously have local control over the construction and building locally to Lancaster County. So one of the things we spoke to with Atlantic Broadband is for them to give us, before they start working or during the process, so we could go out to do spot checks and actually do some field visits, make sure they're actually doing what they're doing. So I'm not quite sure if that's the level of Jeff's, if he's going to be that granular. I doubt it, but that's why we asked for a scope of work, to see exactly what he is proposing and is it worth it.
And does he have the bandwidth to do this, considering, what we just heard
From George.
from George,
Yeah.
and the delay in the implementation of the tower project?
Now, I did speak with Jeff. I think the delays in some of his installations is not a bandwidth issue. It's more of some back office operations issues, what he's indicated to me. So, but that certainly is a concern. Especially in this day and age, it's hard to get employees, for any sector.
I think Michelle didn't mean bandwidth, meaning internet bandwidth.
I meant, does he have the
That's what I meant.
personal
That's what I'm saying.
bandwidth, meaning the availability, does he really have the time to do this, was my.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think and that's why I want to say, I don't think his delays in installations are because of that. He has, I think it's I'm not quite sure. It seems to be technical delays, not delays in bandwidth, what I mean by his resources.
Okay.
There's also an article coming out, I don't know if it's this week or next week's paper. The way this first press release on VATI's coming out will be ABB wrote it with all the coordination of the counties, and then we'll talk about later. They wanted to start off with everybody being on the same wavelength of one voice for this very beginning part. Then after that, there'll be more press releases. It might be county by county as, things develop, we'll see. But at least the first one is authored by ABB with collaboration from the counties. See, he wanted it Thursday. That's probably next week's paper, all the papers.
And I did ask Jeff to give a presentation at our next board meeting, so we get an update on the status of his fixed wireless deployment. And we could also ask, his resources to do, to do the project management at that time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Which I got my glasses. As far as the MOU with APB, the ball's in APB's court. There's nothing we can do at this point except wait. And I think Jimmy Carr was going to call you, Nicholas, to set up the next meeting.
He has reached out to me. I forwarded an email to Gary. They're requiring some of our data of where unserved is and, students are. I don't know if Gary got that yet. I think we have all that information. The one thing he did ask, which I'm pretty sure we don't have, is access to the BRE software.
Ah.
Because I think our license ran out.
Right, that's true. We don't have that license anymore. Okay, we'll just have to wait till he gets what he needs and set up that meeting. And next thing, I can't read this.
You don't have to reconfigure it.
Oh, did you have comment?
Just so you know, Kevin asked, it's just essentially a renewal of the software if we decide that's what they really need, but
Right.
that's about $6,000. Well, actually, no, we can go ahead and discuss how many months. It's $500 a month. So we can
We'd have that
get
discussion
it a
with
couple
him.
minutes, but when it's
Yeah.
time, we can.
No, we may not need it for a year, so that's good, you can do it on a month.
Well, I mean, ultimately, shouldn't they pay, ultimately, shouldn't they pay that and we just give them access to our files?
Yep,
I agree, they should pay the software fees.
yeah. That's good, you only do it for a month. They can use it for other projects. Okay, next, the update, Bob, your request. You will probably be getting something from us by Friday, at the latest. We're going to be voting on that right now. We have put something together, we wanted to put it in writing. So we have that, and any comments or anything from members of the authority on that letter?
Though I did send out some 4 minor additions onto there.
Do you have?
I don't have a.
I didn't know if he got, did you
I
send him?
think Nicholas sent a further revised
Right.
draft, because I sent comments right before this meeting as well.
Yeah, I printed that one
Okay,
off.
sorry.
It's in your email.
Okay,
All right, then, yeah, it was
Probably
just about,
Probably about 4 PM.
okay, I was here, so
okay.
I just don't have my computer with me today.
All righty, let's get how people feel about everything up to those last 3 or 4, whatever you added. Was there any comments or additions, changes to what was submitted as of 4? Those things you haven't seen. The things you want to put in, we haven't seen, so we'll defer on that.
Yeah, it's really just defining that, trying to keep the jargon the same that we've used with BOS all along, whereas the APB and ABB grants essentially cover what we had called Phase 1 of our build-out.
Oh, I
okay?
did see your
Which-
comment.
Huh?
I did see that comment from you.
Okay.
Nicholas, did you see that comment from Gary that I think?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did add, we had the August 24th, August 2024 date was one of Gary's issues. And so we put that in there. And then the other one, I didn't hear any other comments on. I guess the only thing I have concern about some of the additional stuff, we're responding to a letter. We're writing a letter to a response to a request. And I think, once again, in my email originally, I think it should be kind of concise. And I'm afraid we might be getting too much into the weeds by putting too much detail on that may not be required for this response.
Understood.
Okay, so
And-
it sounds
and-
like maybe, unless you want to
Well, the,
look at the, I have the final. You don't have to do it right this second, but if you wanted to look at it during this meeting, so that we can
Okay.
maybe vote at the
Okay.
end of the meeting,
okay.
I'm happy to share that.
I thought I had wrote that too, but I guess I didn't.
I don't have
Oh,
my
I bought
computer with
Cherie's.
me. I can't. Oh,
I thought I brought a hard copy, I didn't. I'd give you an easier one to read. Oh, and Michelle, once we have the final, we'll put it on letterhead,
Okay.
okay? I know you have that. Okay. While Gary's going over that, that's all that was on the agenda that was sent out. Oh, one thing, Glenn and I had talked by email last week and wanted to confirm that the authority feels the same way, that like with public meetings, the video, the Zoom, et cetera, we'd follow the policy the way the BOS does, the way the board does it. As far as people calling in, wanting to make a public comment, we just follow the same practice. That way, anybody in the public doesn't have to change if it's the authority versus the Board of Supervisors. We just follow the same procedures for the public meeting. All right,
that's fine.
okay, all in favor? I don't want to hear any changes later, so we're all in favor, we'll do it the way the Board of Supervisors do it, right? All right, all in favor? Aye?
A motion.
Motion.
Motion to
Motion.
do it,
And-
handle Zoom meetings the way the standard process that Glenn has established for BOS.
All right, seconded?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Jeff, it's a go. Glenn, sorry, Glenn is a go. Yep, thank you. All righty. You still reading?
I'm looking at it, and
It's hard on
it
the
doesn't,
phone.
it doesn't have what I'm looking for in there.
I think Nicholas just explained how he didn't break it into phase one, phase two. I think otherwise, the substance of all.
I think we're good. I mean, we could certainly add it in there, but once again, I don't think it adds to the response of the letter of what we're trying to achieve.
Oh, sorry.
That's my personal opinion. I'll gladly put it in if
Yeah.
you want to add it in.
As I said, to be consistent, so, because those words have meaning to our Board of Supervisors, who we are responding to, okay? And they need to understand, not that we've eliminated the phase two, but rather it's on hold right now until we understand where we're going to end up after finishing phase one.
Although, I'll admit, I don't know about what you're referring to, just because I'm fairly new, so I don't understand this distinction of phase one and phase two, but based upon what you just described, I understand your point to be is that you wanted to be clear that this is what the authority's position is at this point in time, based upon everything that we know now, but it's not necessarily the position of the authority, say, the end of 2021.
Right.
That it is a dynamic process, and this authority will continue to respond and react to the marketplace, to the government funding, to whatever is necessary to ensure that the citizens of Lancaster County have the best access to broadband capability available. Do we, is that,
Yeah,
we all
that's-
agree on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's why when I did those additions, I thought they were fairly minor additions on it.
Yeah, and I think all of those are in there. The one thing I think that Nicholas is saying, and Nicholas, correct me wrong, is that this concept of phase one, phase two, those words per se are not there, but
No.
the concept's there.
Yeah.
The concept's there, and the last paragraph of the second paragraph, second paragraph, last sentence, I think it really sums up where Gary's going with it. Now it's not labeled as called phase two.
We haven't used that phraseology in a while.
We
started out, we did at the
We
beginning.
did, but remember, we have not been working on phase two, period,
Right.
for probably a couple of years, just because we didn't know how we were going to get to
Right.
it.
Right.
Okay? But it was clearly, we delineated it and explained it to the BOS as that. So that's all I'm trying to do is say, I'm not saying, I agree completely. It doesn't make sense taking 10 million unless it's a line of credit, as someone as once was talking about, or something of that nature. Or we actually had a real project where we had some type of pro forma to say, this makes sense. And we don't have either of those things. So it makes sense to say, not today.
So are we holding this over to the next meeting then, so that Gary has an opportunity to?
I would say maybe take a vote on what we know already. The reason being,
are you
it's
talking
been
about?
2 weeks
talking about
since the
Blueberry?
request was
What you
made
mean?
to bring this to the board. So I would say we should not be waiting
Yeah,
another
that-
2
that.
weeks. You know, over maybe over two
Re-
sentences or something.
Realistically, it's one word and
Oh,
one
you got it.
sentence. Yeah, it just says phase one at the top, and then it says the sentence at the bottom. It's not that big of a change. I have it here if you want to look at it.
Oh,
No sense to me, look, I haven't got my glasses on.
Yeah, I mean, if
Well,
it's really a stylistic,
Well, he's right, though. You're dealing with the board members, and we have been telling them about phases the whole time along. They'd probably like to, hey, that makes sense.
can I look at it?
Yeah, it's right here.
If I could just say something for me, since I wrote the email. I didn't write the thing that the Chairman Palin sent to you, gave to you. What I
Okay.
believe,
I don't think it's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost a stylistic thing as far as, defining and clarity. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly either way.
If it's one sentence and it's the same thing, you're adding 3 words or like something like that?
Yeah, it's very small.
Anybody have an objection to like,
Nicholas, do you have that draft?
Yeah,
Or do you have what they're talking about?
yeah, I have that. Like I
Okay.
said, I thought it was answered, maybe not as labeled as phase 2, but in the last sentence to the second paragraph. But I could certainly add it, if you want me to add it in, we could add it into the document.
how do you feel about it? Anybody have an objection to it?
Let me just pull.
Bob, you were starting to say something.
I was trying to. I asked you in November, I believe, when Gary was first put back on the authority. I
February.
asked each of you individually what your concept was of a mission statement. I received one reply, I believe. I was told at that time that it was going to take time, that you're going to have to discuss it amongst yourselves and come up with something. And then I just wrote this email a couple of weeks ago, and I asked you again, what do you believe your mission is? It can be stated in one simple sentence. And then I asked you what the plan was to implement the mission that you accept for yourself. This phase 1 and phase 2 is all part of a plan. But the most important thing is if you have an understanding of what you're supposed to be about. Now, that sounds like a hard way to say it, but it's true. If you believe that your mission is to provide fiber to the premises for every home and business in Lancaster County, that can be said in one sentence. That was my understanding of what your mission is. Now, how you get there, it seems like right now you're pursuing VADI and the consortium with APB, and that's part of your plan. That's fine. Is that all of your plan, or will there be more? So for me personally, certainly I can wait till Friday till you write a letter about it, but it's pretty straightforward in my mind. And I've been waiting a long time, and I'm not the only one.
We're talking about 2 different things. The letter we're talking about is not that.
Oh, well, I assumed it was.
No,
since you
no.
looked at me and Gary looked at me.
No, it's a question you had asked at our last meeting, if we could have an answer by just after this meeting, and that is what's in that letter. It's an answer to your question.
The letter from who?
It's from the authority.
No.
Now, when you see the letter, you'll know. It's going to you and to the Board of Supervisors.
It was specifically about the 10.6 million that has been proposed and whether to
Oh, I
hold it.
mentioned that in my email.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what this letter is. That's one thing. The other things you're asking about, the vision, mission, plan, et cetera, is over half done. We have, the plan is in there. We have goals in there. It's a longer piece. It is not going to be just 1 or 2 sentences. Some things are going to be short, just like you
The
said.
mission statement can be one sentence.
And we want
We
to
agree.
give you all the answers to what we got from Mr. Palin, 3, 4, at the meeting, so forth. We're putting it into one document.
March 25th.
Wonderful.
Thank you, it's March 25th.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, so that's in train. It's half done,
And it's detailed. I mean, it's
Detailed.
long, it's detailed.
very detailed. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Anything else from Kevin? Anything else?
Our bank balance is still at $8,557.98.
Thank you. Good. 8,800, and he has the figures.
No, that's the,
8,557.39.
that's the separate account,
855,739.
not
Yeah,
the
that's,
budget.
that's the Chesapeake
That's the
Bay
Chesapeake.
account. Hasn't changed in like 4, 5, 6 months.
No, holding that one because we have things to pay out of that one. Gary, anything else? Michelle?
Yeah.
Are
Are we voting on
are
the
we
letter?
voting on the letter?
The
Oh,
BOS
yeah,
letter?
we didn't, all right, somebody want to put a motion on?
Go ahead.
I make a motion to accept the letter with the modified changes I sent out a few hours ago. So,
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll get that out, and probably tomorrow. Tomorrow, we may be able to send that out. Any other business, Michelle?
I don't.
Nothing here?
Yes.
Gary, you good?
I was going to have to leave early, now I don't have to. Okay, nothing else? All right, this meeting is,
did we, since there's people here who are trying to get BTS, do we want to have Nicholas just give them the update we heard from BTS?
what update?
Nicholas sent us something from Jeff that he sent out, a day or two ago? On timing. It was,
I didn't see anything from timing.
okay. Anyway, I'll just share it. It's from,
Well, are we not adjourned yet?
no.
Then,
No,
Okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted to just share the information. As I said, I know some of the people here are interested. They've been delayed, and I think Nicholas told you what he had heard, some of the delay. The test customers, they're hoping to do the week of the 7th, is that, or
That's what
start
George said.
May 7th, and they should be finishing that up. There's 15 of those, and then I don't know where everybody else sits in the roughly 60 list, or if they've even gotten more people on the list to hook up.
Well, he plans to have the 15 installs done by May 14th, and then full install schedule to begin on the 24th of May.
Okay, thank you.
This is current
Nicholas.
schedule.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that.
Chuck?
Are they going to notify the test customers?
I'm sorry, can't
Are
hear.
they going to notify the test customers for installation?
Oh, they had said that earlier. Oh, yeah, they won't just show up. You'll know when you're going to be done on the 20th of May or, whatever.
At least we understand that from BTS.
I hear you, Cassie, but this has been going on for several months, that we keep on getting a date, and there's no communications and nothing happens. So it's the 14th, a firm date, and we'll be notified ahead of time so we can be home.
Well, one thing, as Nicholas mentioned, Jeff's going to be here in 2 weeks to make a presentation on all the details. And we
That-
can certainly, I'm sorry?
I apologize, but I believe that that's May 19th, which would be 5 days after the scheduled May 14th. And Gary, since you were the one who wanted to share the information, maybe you have more intelligence as to specifically whether that's a hard date or not.
I don't, every time very similar to Chuck, I'm told every date is a hard date.
Okay, so everyone in the room should understand that the authority doesn't have any control over BTS's schedule.
Well, I guess I would interject that the authority has control over the contract. The contract requires to have X number of customers online by such and such a date. And someone needs to be longer than that to make sure it happens. Because the CARES Act requires us to have 300 customers by X date.
Yep. And what has happened since the grant changed is now the end of the year is the timeline. So theoretically, they're still within time limit if they get 300 by the end of the year. So it's not as easy to say for schedule that they had given us.
We will make sure that BTS does a better job in communication. And that's one of the reasons for them to be coming here in 2 weeks. So it's going to be in a public meeting, it's not a closed session. So they will be able to talk about their timelines, anything that's slowing them down, issues, whatever, would affect that, the ongoing installation. But feel free to be here in 2 weeks. Why doesn't that surprise me, Chuck?
what is their response? Are you able to get?
What are
I
they
mean,
telling you?
What are they telling you? Like, when you call up and, or they say, oh, okay, we're gonna be at your house on X date, and then they don't show up, do they like call you ahead of time and let you know that, oh, we're not gonna be able to do it? How's their communication with you?
I don't call them because I was involved in this thing since February 1st, and I've heard these dates pass. And I think it's their responsibility to notify me, since I'm on the first 15 on the test, to tell me when they want to buy, and also what are the criteria for the test? How are you going to know it's a success? I haven't seen any criteria for how I'm going to evaluate, or how you all are going to evaluate the success before you roll it out to the general public.
Well, I think that would be whether or not they're delivering the,
Well, there's a lot of factors you have to consider when you're doing a trial. And I'm sure Nicholas is aware of them, and Jeff should be aware of them. And they ought to document those, and they ought to have a formal process, so I know what information to collect, and the 14th person knows collecting the same information, so you all get a really clear picture.
Well, all of this will be factored in, since Nicholas is working with Jeff to be here in 2 weeks. Here are things he should be prepared to address. There may be some addressing of it in between publicly, I don't know, but at least it will be addressed here. So we can take all of that as part of his presentation. Okay?
but since you're a customer of his, like, you should be able to communicate directly with him.
Well, my neighbors have contacted him for over a month, and they keep on getting the same story. I'll be there next week, no one shows up, no one calls, rescheduled.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Like, what is the interaction? Are you getting calls back, or are you not getting calls back? Or are they just like not showing up? And that's what you're telling me then. So when they're scheduled, somebody just doesn't even show up. They don't call you and say, hey, we're behind, we're not going to be able to come this week. You're sitting there waiting at your house, and they never show up. And then they give you another date, and
So-
then you're sitting there waiting, and they don't show up.
So that's very useful information, along with the information that Mr. Botts provided via the Zoom. And we are working directly with BTS, and Nicholas has had at least 2 meetings with him now, and we do have a contract, and we're going to ensure that we get the benefit of our bargain.
And
So
just for
that input's
everybody's
helpful.
information,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead.
I've
Nick.
also asked Jeff to provide more detailed reports going forward, so we can see what uptime is, latency. So we're going to, he's going to give me what his network monitoring system can easily spit out, and then we'll start reporting on that on a regular basis as we get customers up and running. So we really want to see what the health of the network is and also how it's performing.
Good.
And to that, Nicholas, it sounds like we need a better understanding of his customer service management. How,
Well, so that's, so we'll delve into that. Some of the reports we'll be looking for is, the regular call center type stuff, how long does it take to answer calls, number of repeat problems. So one thing we want to look at, make sure that if someone has a problem and, text word deployed, 5 times or, in 3 weeks, then we know we're not fixing the problem. They're just doing, they're not fixing the problem, getting the root cause. So we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So really, like I said, once again, it's the health of the network and the performance of the network for not just overall, but for the customer experience also.
Thanks, Nicholas. Anything else? All right, we've had motions to adjourn. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good, we are adjourned. I don't believe this. You see the time?
It's still light out.
Well, I have some place to be. Thank you for being willing to step in, Sherry. I appreciate
Hey.
that.